Hey guys, it's Kristen, co-founder of Service Crowd. We are digital and marketing agency fractional managers helping owners get out of the weeds so that they can run their business instead of feeling like it's running them. This week in agency operations, I want to talk about a topic that isn't really agency ops specific. I want to talk about the importance of community. I'm thinking both in the small sense of finding a community of people in your space, however you want to define that. Maybe it's community of agency owners. I belong to one of those. Maybe it's a local group of entrepreneurs in your town and you like the local aspect of it, like however you want to define that. I think finding a community is important. And I think it's important for three distinct reasons, right? The first two I think get talked about a lot, and that's, finding and sourcing partners and finding and sourcing pipeline. If your agency specializes in higher ed and you're gonna go out and start joining communities that relate to higher ed, like yes, your next client is probably gonna be in those communities somewhere, right? You still have to glad hand, you still have to go to the events, you still have to make eye contact, you still have to build trust. All of that is still true, but it gives you a channel to do that. That's sort of ready made with your ICP, right? Communities are great for that. In the same way, communities are great for partner building. I myself am a part of some communities with other agencies and other fractional help. And I know that if my clients needed a fractional service that I couldn't provide, I could probably source that pretty quickly through those communities and with people that I like and trust and have had a beer with, virtual or otherwise, right? So I think it's important for all of those reasons. And I just made a mental note to make a future video about referral partners because I think those are super, super important for small agencies. But we'll leave that aside. I think there's a third reason communities are super important for small agency owners and operators that doesn't get talked about a lot. Being a small agency owner or operator is a really high pressured job. And I know we're not saving lives, we're just publishing websites, publishing content. But especially if you're large enough to have employees, but not large enough to fully be out of the operations of your agency, every choice you make affects that small group of employees, right? It's a huge amount of pressure. The lines are always blurring. You're constantly having to make decisions of like, is this work the right work for my firm? Should I hold out for more? Am I taking it solely because I want the revenue, or am I taking it because it's going to further my greater ambitions for my firm? All of that is true, right? And it's very high pressure. And I think communities can kind of take the pressure off a little bit. Or, as the young folks say, can help you touch grass. Every problem you have ever had as a small agency owner, somebody else has had. And I think that that's a really hard thing to remember when you're deep in the weeds, right? When you are dealing with, I don't know, a contractor that said that they would finish up a task for your highest pressure client and they have completely ghosted you and acted strange or whatever. This is a real thing that has happened to one of my clients, by the way. You know, that can feel like such a strange problem and like, what do we do? Like, how do we fix this? How do we make it right with the client? What do we say? I guarantee that somebody else has been through that exact same thing, probably within the last 12 months. And if you're in the right spaces and in the right communities, you're able to fire off a quick Slack message, a quick email, a quick Facebook message. Some of the communities are in Facebook still. I don't know about that. I joined a community and they were like, oh, we use Facebook groups. And I was like, no, 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 no. Anyway, you can fire off a quick Slack message or email or Facebook message if you must. And, say, this is what I'm dealing with. Who else has dealt with that? What was your playbook for it? And immediately have some feedback of what to do next. And I think that understanding that your problems aren't unique and that they have clear solutions is such a huge relief in such a high pressure job. So I'll put some links to communities that I am in the comments, and I would love to know what communities you all are in. But yeah, not really an agency ops tip this week, more a tip for your own pipeline and mental health to some extent. But having a community of people that is going through some of the same decisions that you're going through, I think is super, super important. So go out and find those communities. They're all out there, I promise.